Hi guys, it's Miss O'Hara and we are going to be making coil pots. Now, I know I said we're making coil pots and there are many ways to make a coil pot. The way we're going to do it today is we are going to start out with a pinch pot. So I am making my first chunk of clay really nice and round so that I can make it into a pinch pot. So I'm going to put it on my thumb and squeeze and turn and squeeze and turn and squeeze and turn. And I'm going to make this one pretty wide because I want it to be as wide as I want my coil pot to be. So you can see it's almost like a plate. So it's a little shallower and it's round. And now I'm going to try to make the top nice and smooth and even. I'm going to make it as even height as I can. And you see I'm using my thumb to squish it down and make it nice and smooth. I saw that mine rocks a little bit. I don't want it to rock, so I pushed it down so it will be nice and flat. It's important that it sit nice and sturdy so that it becomes a wonderful coil pot. Before we start making our coil pot, we gotta put our names on these things. So here I have my alphabet letters. I found an O right away. How lucky is that? And I push it into my pinch pot. Now, it's okay to put the alphabet letters out on the table and spread them out a little bit. Do this in the middle of your table so everyone can look for their letters at the same time. All right, so I found a letter and I found my H and I squished it right in. Now I need two A's and an R. So now I'm looking and I couldn't find an A, but I did find a V. And the reason I couldn't find an A is A's get used a lot for names, but I found a V. And I know an upside down V can look kind of like an A, so I'm just going to go with what I have. Now I'm going to look for an R and another A, and I'm setting them off to the side. And I'm going to put them all right into my pot as soon as I have them. So really quickly, I'm going to get the rest of my letters all squished onto my pot. And now I've got my name. I'm putting all my letters away. I've just got my name, but you're going to have your class code on there too. Now, here's my coils. Okay, these always need to look nice and neat. If you mess up the coils, mess up their shape, or make them look really small, or dig through them, I will not make you any more coils. You will be making your own coils. So make sure your coils always look nice and neat at the end of class, or you're making your own, kiddos. So finally, we're at the place where we're actually going to start building our coil pot. I have a paper clip here that I have untwisted so that I can use it as a cutting tool. Now this popsicle stick is going to help me make my coil pot taller instead of wider. If you make your coil pot wider, it's going to fall apart because there's nothing underneath it to hold it up. If you make it taller, putting one coil right on top of the other, then it'll be nice and strong for you. What I'm doing right now is very important. I'm blending my coil onto my pinch pot. I'm making that line where you can see that the pinch pot is different than the coil disappear. Once that's nice and smoothed on, that coil won't go anywhere. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing again using my popsicle stick to make it taller instead of wider, and then after I cut it, I'm going to blend it together again. If it is not blended together on the inside really well so all the lines disappear, it will fall apart. Maybe not while you're building it, but definitely in the kiln. And coil parts that fall apart do not get good grades. So make sure that your coil pot stays nice and together after it comes out of the kiln by blending it really well while you are building. Everyone is going to start off with this coil pot, the pinch pot on the bottom and the two coils right on top. I'm smoothing it all out because that's the texture I want. And once I have those two coils, I can start making it look different. Now I'm going to grab my plan that I made the first week we were working on coil pots, and I see that my plan means that I need to do the up and down ones first. So I am using my paper clip to cut those into the right size, and you can see I'm using the last one that I cut as a measure for cutting my coils so that they stay the same height. And I am blending them together on the inside all the way around so that it will stay together. You can see my next part of my piece calls for those swirly whirlies. I got those up and down pieces in, and now I need those swirly whirlies. So I am going to make sure that they're each the same. They go around one time all the way. And again, I am blending them together. Even that swirl part, I am blending that so that coil on the inside looks smooth as butter. If it's not smooth as butter, it's gonna fall apart in the kiln. So definitely smooth it out. You can see I have a little gap left and it's not big enough for a whole swirl, so I have to change my plan. That's okay. So I made little balls to fill in that little gap, okay? And now I see next I've got my simple shapes, my triangles. All right, so I am going to make those simple shapes with my coils, and you can see I'm making them one on top of the other so that they stay the same shape and the same size as well. Now, if you noticed, my plan actually needed those little balls first. Well, I decided that I really didn't like the way that looked on top of the swirly whirly since I had to do that little part to fill the gap, so I changed my mind. I'm allowed to change my mind a little bit sometimes, but I do want to see that you are kind of following your plan. It's okay to modify the plan, but don't like change it completely because we made the plan for a reason, right? Okay, you can make some changes, that's okay, but still you want to use the plan that you made. All right, so I'm still making those simple triangles. And when I blend them together on the inside, wherever they touch, they're going to be smooth like butter. But you can see that these triangles have a hollow middle, and that's okay too. So I'm going to be able to see through some of this. This means that I can't use this like to fill up with water all the way to the top if I wanted to use this for flowers, but I could fill it up until there's the first hole. So if you want to use this to put flowers into, you're going to have to make sure that it's all blended tight and together with no holes. All right, I can still use mine for flowers because the holes are towards the top. Now I'm still putting those on, and oh, you can see, boom, I've got those triangles on the outside, and on the inside they are blended together. Now my plan calls for the whirly lines, those wavy lines. So I am waving them together in my hand before I put them onto my pot. Again, still blend them together so that they stay together. Every time a coil touches another coil, I'm going to blend it together and make it smooth like butter on the inside. All right, remember your coil pot needs to stay together after it comes out of the kiln in order to get a good grade. Okay, modifying your plan a little bit is all right. Modifying your plan a lot a bit, well, let's try to stay away from that. All right, and here I've got my nice finished pot, and it is ready for the kiln.